Good day and welcome to my kitchen. Today I have a 3-pound pork shoulder which we're going to be making pulled pork sandwiches with. We're going to do it sous vide style. It's a long cook, but it's an easy cook. We'll be using a sous vide unit, and what you do is you put your meats in a vacuum sealed bag, or you can use a freezer bag, 1-gallon freezer bag, to sous vide in. So once again, good day and welcome to my kitchen. We're going to season our pork shoulder on all sides. You can season it whatever seasoning rub you like. Make sure you get it all the way around, all the seasoning. There's a multitude of seasoning rubs you can buy. I use my own because I like it a little spicy. It's equal parts cayenne pepper, garlic powder, minced dried onions, and salt. Very simple. I'll rinse my hands and then we'll start browning. We're going to add some canola oil to our skillet. Which we're going to put our pork shoulder in to brown. Now you're going to want to take and brown this on all the sides so it's nice and golden brown on all sides. It only takes 2-3 minutes aside just to get a nice crust on it. As you can see, it has a nice sear on it, so we'll turn it to the next side. And we'll continue the process until all the sides have been nicely browned. And we'll be back at that point. As you can see, our pork shoulder is nicely golden brown. Now we need to let it cool for a few minutes so we can put it in our vacuum seal bag and vacuum seal it. Like I say, you can use freezer bags, 1-gallon freezer bags in your CV unit, but you have to remember they have to be freezer bags, not storage bags. Okay, we'll be back once this is cool and we're ready to vacuum seal it. Okay, our pork shoulder has cooled. I've put it into the vacuum seal bag and we'll get ready to vacuum seal it and then place it into the sous vide unit, which it will have to sit there and cook for 24 hours. It's a long cook, but an easy cook. As you can see, our pork shoulder is nicely vacuum sealed in the bag. And now it is ready to be placed in the sous vide unit, which is the sous vide machine that I showed you earlier. And it heats up a water bath that stays at a constant temperature and only varies by a very small percentage of a degree. And what we're going to be cooking it at, we're going to be sous videing this at 170 degrees for 24 hours to make our pulled pork to make sandwiches with. So we have our pork shoulder. It's going to go into this. Okay. You can see the sous vide unit. It's bubbling away. It'll keep a constant temperature of 170 for 24 hours, and it barely varies a very small percentage, plus or minus degree in the whole cook. So for the most part, it'll just stay 170 degrees for 24 hours. Our pork shoulder is in a vacuum sealed bag. It's submerged in the water bath with the sous vide unit, bubbling away and maintaining the proper temperature. I seem to have a problem pronouncing this. I don't know why. It's an easy word to pronounce. But anyhow, such is life. Okay, I'm going to put a cover on it, and I'll see you in 24 hours. This is what the sous vide unit looks like when it has the cover on it. It'll just sit that way for the next 24 hours. Check on it every once in a while, because you're going to have to add a little bit of water due to evaporation. That's why you put a cover on it, to reduce the amount of evaporation. But very simple, as you saw. It'll maintain a perfect temperature and make a really nice pulled pork. See you tomorrow. Good day and welcome back to my kitchen. We're going to continue our recipe with the pork shoulder, making pulled pork sandwiches. The pork shoulder has been sous videing for 24 hours. It's done now. We'll remove it from the sous vide unit and shred it into for our pork sandwiches. Our shredded pork sandwiches. There's our pork shoulder in the sous vide unit. It's been cooking for 24 hours, and now it's ready to be taken out and prepared for our pork sandwiches, shredded pork, pulled pork sandwiches. Okay, we have our pork shoulder out of the sous vide unit. Now we will take and drain the juices into the smaller bowl, and then we will put our pork shoulder in the larger bowl and pull it apart using 2 forks. As you can see, it looks pretty good. Be back once I get the juices drained into the smaller bowl and the pork shoulder in the larger bowl to make our pulled pork. As you can see, our pork shoulder is nicely done. We have quite a bit of juice from the pork shoulder. It still has its golden brown look from when we seared it to start. Now we will need to take 2 forks and pull the pork shoulder apart in order to make our pulled pork sandwiches. It cooked for 24 hours in the sous vide unit in the water bath in a vacuum sealed bag, and now it's time to pull it apart, and we'll add a little of the juice back into it and some barbecue sauce. Okay, now we're going to start to pull this apart. You see it's tearing apart very nicely after that nice long cook. Just take the 2 forks and pull it apart. Shredding apart very nicely. Pulled pork is pulling apart very nicely. It's so tender and moist, and it smells just excellent. It's amazing how well it smells. And it's incredibly tender. It just shreds apart very nicely. I'm going to take a little taste. Oh, it's very good. Now we're going to add a little bit of the juices back into it. Make it even a little more moist. Have a taste to see if we need to add any salt. Maybe you could use just a pinch more salt. We'll take and just add a pinch more salt. Mix it a little bit more. Okay, now we're going to add a little barbecue sauce to it. You can add whatever brand or flavor barbecue sauce you prefer to season it even a little bit more. Probably about a little over a quarter of a cup. Don't need a lot. Pork is very flavorful on its own. check it for I think it's perfect like that. What we're going to serve this pulled pork on with will be our beginner's homemade bread, sandwich bread. We're going to use, we have a recipe on my channel for beginner's homemade sandwich bread. I'll leave a link for that. But that's what we're going to serve this on, toasted. So be back when we get to that point. Okay, on our slightly toasted bread, we'll put some pulled pork. That has been seasoned with a little of the stock from the cooking and some barbecue sauce. We added just a little bit more salt for taste. Now we will put a little coleslaw on top of our pulled pork sandwich. And there you have it. Pulled pork sandwich on homemade sandwich bread, toasted, with a little coleslaw on top. It's going to make a very good sandwich. And we're going to have some egg potato salad as our side. I hope you enjoy this recipe. There's our pulled pork sandwich with our lightly toasted homemade sandwich bread. And there's our completed dish. Pulled pork sandwich with coleslaw topping, egg potato salad for the side dish, on toasted homemade sandwich bread. Looks like a keeper to me. Try the recipe and let me know what you think. It was done with a sous vide unit in a water bath. The pork shoulder was put in a vacuum sealed bag. These units are become quite inexpensive in comparison to what they used to cost. They start around $80 and up for a unit. And you can cook all sorts of meats to a perfect temperature every time. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. And if you did, want to try it, I will put all the ingredients that I used and how I prepared it on the descriptions below. And also, if you like this video, please hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget the notification bell that'll let you know whenever I put up new content. So, I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy your dinner.